Hey everyone, this is Greg. Sorry for my 2 week hiatus, but last week we were in. I traveled to Pennsylvania and I was at page 3, I think it was called, Pennsylvania Area Gaming Expo. We went up for the Sunday, and instead of coming home Sunday, we came home Monday, and so it didn't give me enough time to record and put up a video during the week. So we are going to. This video is going to be over two things. Number one, I am going to use published material. I guess I'm going to do three things. I'm going to use published material to kind of set up my adventure. I'm going to use random. I'm going to create my adventure randomly. And so, which means instead of me rolling, I always randomly create my adventures. But I get this comment a lot about, hey, what about if I run an adventure where I just go from one room to the next instead of roll in 5, 6, 7 rooms or 10 rooms or whatever the dungeon calls for? I want to have that element of surprise to find out what's the next thing that I run into. And so I think the only really reason, I guess you could do like 5 rooms and then you roll. But one of the things about ShadowDark that always catches me about the when I think about it, it always kind of makes me go, and that is, and I guess it would be with any kind of system, but definitely with ShadowDark, your page 130. So when you're creating a ShadowDark dungeon map, I believe it's 130. Yep, ShadowDark map. You roll the D10, right? You're supposed to drop the however many you're going to do. Small dungeon 5, medium 8, large 12. You drop them, and then there's the different rooms, and then based upon what's on the D10, that's the room, and then you build towards like the highest objective room that you rolled is going to be the room that the site objective or boss monster is located in the room with the highest room type roll. So, but if you play, whereas you're going into, I don't want to know what's in the next room, then you're going to have to, then how will you know if you roll the highest objective number, which is a 10 or a 9 or an 8 or whatever, you don't know what the number is because if you're rolling 5 rooms, it could be up, whatever the highest number is, what the objective is. So you would not know as you're moving from one spot to the other, right? So if I'm playing an adventure and I'm just going to roll completely random, I don't know what's going to be in here, I'm going to roll on the random room type and we'll find out what it is, then your first room could be a 10. So that means you fight the boss monster right at the beginning of the room, and whatever the objective of the adventure would be there. So you have to change your mind frame of the fact that there really is either A, whatever the last room is going to be your objective. So if you're going to play 5 rooms, or you play that, whatever at the end of it, I'm at the end, I made the objective and that's it. Or you're going to play whatever I roll, and if I roll a 10, immediately that's going to be the last room of my dungeon. And so, I understand the need or the desire for a player to say, and who's a GM, is I want to be surprised in every single room as if I'm a player. And I understand that. I don't really have a problem. You've been watching my channel, that even if I know kind of what's coming up in the dungeon, it really doesn't affect me too much on me playing, because that room is still going to be a room that I have to engage with and it's a counter that I'm going to have to deal with. So it doesn't bother me. And so so if I think about it, I'm going to use ShadowDark as it doesn't matter what system you use, because even if you roll in a random, like you're creating a dungeon as you go along and that type of stuff, you're going to have to use some kind of roll chart to do it. And so even if you're going to use a published adventure, let's say you find some adventure and you say, I want to run through it, then the only thing, you're going to have to cover it up. You have to read the adventure if you're going to DM the adventure so that you know the overall arc of the adventure, what the plot is and what's going on, unless you just read the beginning and then you just kind of, have the map and, 1, 2, 3, and you just turn the page to it. But I don't know. I don't really understand, and maybe I can put in the comments. I really don't comment much on my videos, but you can put in comments of why that's so important to you. And like, to me, it's not that big of a deal. But so I thought what I would do is I would just run one that's like this. That is, I'm just going to make it up as I go. I'm going to definitely do 5 rooms because recording, I don't want my video to be, they're already long enough sometimes, and I don't want it to be too long. And so I'm going to roll up a 5 room, and we're going to roll the room type as we go. And we're not going to worry. I guess what we're going to do is just not worry about this. The side objective or boss of the monsters located in the room with the highest room total. We're not going to worry about this section here. What we're going to do is, so that goes to my next point. My next thing is I want to use a published adventure, because what I'm going to do is I want to run a gauntlet today on a adventure series I did. I want to run this at my gaming table, and because I always wanted to run this ever since I got this product, and I think ShadowDark's a great system to run it with. And so what it is Against the Giants, the Liberation of Geoff. And so this book, I think, is one of the best old school Advanced Dungeons & Dragons resources that was created, because what it does is not only do you get the first 3 giant adventures. So if you go and play G1, G2, G3, when they originally came out, and what's interesting about them is, like, it is an overarching, if you know the story, it goes from, I think it goes G1, G2, G3, then D1, D2, and then to the Queen Pits or whatever. And they put it all together in the Spider Queen adventure. But in this one, what they did was, not only did they give you the G1, 2, and 3 are in this book, which is the, so you can find them here, G1 Steading, G2 the Glacial Rift, and the Hall. But what it is, they gave you the setting of Geoff, and it goes through and it gives you all these different towns and maps and what is going on in this whole area. So it gives you more dungeons that are in here. It gives you, so like what we're going to start today, it gives you another map. So cool. But it gives you, let's see, where's the map of the area of Geoff? Right here. It gives you the little towns that are here. And so this whole area, if you know the Greyhawk, that this area is taken over by the giants. Strek gets liberated to a certain point, but then Geoff is, in fact, I should run up and get them, but I picked up a Living Gazetteer yesterday at a comic store, at a game store, and I was reading through it, and this whole area, it's still overrun by these giants, and they own this area, and it gives you a bigger backstory. It tells you, like, how it all runs, gives you new rules for giants and female giants, and some. But the coolest thing is that it fleshes out this whole area so that you can have adventures throughout it, and it gives you a. So it still gives you the regular monsters, but you can build up a adventure, and you can build up the adventure, starting characters out at first or second level or whatever level you want to, and then build them up till they go. So you have the Liberation Part 2, and this gives you random encounters for different areas of the section of Geoff. It gives you the different clans, and at the beginning of it, it gives you simple plot ideas on how to build towns. And so it's got some really, really cool areas in here. So like one, it has the gnomes who have this kind of special forces group of that they all turn invisible, and they are helping to free the area. You have the here's the Deerline or whatever it's called. It's Elven town, and it has all the government, what's going on, the laws, how it works. Then this has different areas: the history, the government, and the laws, and what's going on. Here's the gnomes of Stark Mountains. So this is kind of cool. It's got somewhat recovered from their efforts to aid Styric. The gnomes of the Stark Mountains are in a preparation to test the defenses of those who occupy Gorna. 6 small squadrons of 20 gnomes each, made up of fighters, fighter thieves, and at least one multi-class illusionist, have been assembled from the small villages that dot the mounds. These gnome settlements have mostly been left alone due to the giants' focus on the flatlands, encouraged by some clever illusion spells. The gnomes were anticipating some aid from the dwarfs that live in the higher peaks, but the clan dispute that embroiled their dour cousins has forced the gnomes to buckle up and make do. Led by a charming older gnome named Kemp Consum, the gnomes have met at Talbar, the small village about a day and a half southwest of Gorna. They plan to scout out the shattered town under invisibility, thus making a feint with 1 or 2 squadrons to test the monster's responses and abilities. These squadrons would be supported by gnomish archers and well-placed illusions. After this feint, the uneaten gnomes plan to retreat and regroup to study what they have learned. In particular, the gnomes wish to learn who is behind the giantess alliance and may hire adventurers to procure the information for them. So it gives you all these it gives you what creatures are like. This town, they have the Fomorians stronghold has 17 males. It has 45 ogres. So it gives you and it gives you the town. Gorna, usually it gives you a map. Usually gives you a map of Gorna, but I guess it didn't. But it gives you all these different little outposts that the giants have that are set up around the area. So it's a very, 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 very cool resource. So what I always wanted to do was play a adventure that started player characters at the beginning in one of these towns, and kind of at the beginning of. So my first adventure would be the attack, and so they're in this town, and I'm going to start with Tika Town. So they're in Tika Town, and the gauntlet is going to be they have to survive. It's a 5 points, and so they're going to try to get to safety. And when you read this thing about Tika Town, it tells you about Hustrit, who is he's a human ranger, and he is kind of leading the resistance of this town. And he's been doing things like smuggling children out of the town, providing arms for the locals with the help of the blacksmith. When the right time, he's ready to lead the townsfolk against the giant. So I thought this would be a neat area to start. And so I got a little map of Tika Town. But I'm not too worried about, drawing this whole map, because really all I'm going to do for the gauntlet is what I do normally, and that is I'm going to roll randomly as I go from point to point. So the characters are going to, so I'm going to use this. So the characters are going to, I got my hexgraph paper, and I got my book to roll. And so what I did is I went on ShadowDarkling, and I created, I'm starting off with 12 0-level characters. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one sheet. So if you go on ShadowDarkling, it'll create them for you. So I created them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one sheet, and these are going to be my first 4 characters that are starting this adventure. And when one dies, I'm just going to grab the next character in line, and until if whatever 4 characters make it to the hiding place are going to be my adventurers who are going to, and then on my next session, so I'm going to put this up, and I'm going to see what kind of response I get, because, I'm not, I'm doing this for fun, of course. But the other thing is the fact is that, I do have a channel, and I want to make sure that it grows, and I'm giving people what they want. Like if they're going to spend some time or waste their time with me, spend their time with me, that they kind of get what they're looking for. And that doesn't mean that down the road I definitely want to get back to Dragonbane. I want to do a couple other things I've talked about. But I thought I could kind of kill a bunch of birds with one stone if I do a published adventure sense of using the setting, a random dungeon of and then a gauntlet all in one. And it also could be the start of a campaign. So I'm going to try this and we'll see what happens. And so I have my first 4 people, and basically that the scenario is the fact that they're whatever. Is the fact that they are in this town, Tika Town, and the giants are invading. And so the giants are coming into town. I know that there's hill giants and I know there's ogres in here. So if they get to where there's a monster mob or a boss monster, it's probably going to be an ogre, because to throw a giant at them at the beginning would be huge. But that will probably be a boss monster. An ogre is strong enough, especially against 0 level characters who don't have anything. And then if the ones who survive, and then I'll probably throw in a couple other monster mobs. So it will probably be either goblins or a dire wolf or something of that nature. We'll figure those out as we're going. So let's do it. So what I'm gonna do is I have my regular hex. I just went ahead and got a hex sheet. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's just got hexes on it. I didn't roll up I didn't go get one of my things that I made. And so this is my gauntlet and Tika Town. Tika Town gauntlet. So basically, there's these 4 characters. So I have Mashron, who is a human minstrel. So, he is at the town, when he gets under attack. So he has a crowbar, 2 grappling hooks. I mean, I guess he likes to collect them for a reason. And then torches. And then you have Brom Pinkleton. He's a halfling ranger who has a club, a dagger, and some iron spikes, of course. And then you have Knifield. He's a human noble who has a dagger and a flask of oil. And then you have Fund, the dwarf. He's a banished background dwarf here, and he has one collops, a bag of them. So that's the 4. They're here, and they're going to start off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 5. I'm going to play 5, and I'm going to start random. So I'm going to start right here, and these are my characters are in this box. They're in this part of town, right? Part of Tika Town. And so I'm going to roll, and let's see. So I'm going to roll the room type. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not worried about deadly or risky or anything like that, because each one is going to be, it's already, they're not hanging out in a dungeon. They're running through the town. So whether they were in whatever brought them, like the minstrel might have been a couple of them might have been at an inn. The town comes under attack and they're fleeing. And so they're going to start here, and I'm going to try to get them to the 5th room. Is going to be, when I roll 5, that's going to be their objective. So let's roll a d10 and see. 1. Okay, so the first spot is empty. So the way I do things is that empty doesn't really tell you that there's going to be something there that foreshadows. Like, I don't like a room to ever be an empty room. So what do they find in my in an empty room at the beginning of an empty spot? So they have made it, and I guess it just makes sense that they're here at the beginning. Let me see if I got my GM companion here for ShadowDark, and he has empty room stuff. So let's see if there's something that pops up in here. Dead Zone 44. Dungeons. I think it's dungeon dressings, right? Okay, let's do a dungeon dressing for an empty room, because I don't think he has magical dungeon traps, dungeon hazard. That's a dead zone. Unique object. Room type. Empty. Use dungeon dressing treasure table. Okay, so here we go. Dungeon dressing table. So this is what they're going to. 27. A broken short sword and shattered wooden shield worth 7 points. So that's cool. So they come out in this area, and so they find a broken short sword, and a shield. Okay, or a broken shield. Okay, that's awesome. So they find that some of the town guards or was here, and they find their body, and on their body is a short sword and a broken shield. So what I'm going to do is, let me get to my, let me get to the equipment. I know I should know where everything is in this book, but when I am not running it, I'm reading other things, and so I forget where it's at. Language shields. Here we go. Basic gear. So a short sword is really 1d6, but because it's a broken short sword, it's going to be like a dagger, so it does 1d4. Okay, and then the shield, which gives you a +2, is going to be a +1. So this will give a +1 to them. So I'm going to look at my characters here, and let's see who. The ranger, he's got a club and dagger. The human, he's a noble. He's got a dagger. The minstrel's not even. I think the banished dwarf, because him being banished can tell me that he could have some kind of. That he could have some kind of maybe history of being some kind of warrior. So he goes and he grabs a shield. So that gives him +1. So his armor class is 11. And then he has a short sword, which short sword. I'm going to put a B beside it for broken. So that means his short sword attack is going to be, he's got a -1? Yep, -1. And he has, and it's 1d4. All right, so that's what they find. So they come out into the street, these boulders, and they see the attacks that are going on all around them. And they look around, and it's, I'm going to say it's nighttime because it makes more sense. And so they're, you know what, I'll roll a d4 because I can divide it up into hours. So 2, it is between 6 and 12. So early morning. So early morning, they come out, the town's under attack. Chaos is going on. They run out there and they see guards that are already dead, and whoever killed them has moved on. They look down, he grabs the shield, he grabs one, and he takes off to the next area. So they look at each other and they just start running down the street. So they're going to head out, and I'm going to have another area. So let's see. So they go around, they cut down a street, and they're heading, trying to get out, trying to find an exit out of this town. 7, a monster mob. So this is number 7, and this is a monster mob. So they're going to run into a monster mob. Okay, so here's the thing. Should it be goblins? Because I need something that is not, it's going to be something that's under the influence of so if it's a dire wolf, it's a level 4. That's kind of a little bit bigger. Let's just say it's goblins. So that's for 0 level characters. A goblin is So let me go ahead and see what an ogre is. Ooh, it could be an orc. Let's make them orcs. Orcs is better. So they run into orcs. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 monster mob. It's going to be 1 + 1 because it's a mob. So they run into orcs. And so let's see if the orcs are engaged. So are the orcs, we're going to do the oracle roll, are the orcs already engaged in combat? Yes. So they're already engaged in combat. So these, I'm going to give them a chance to sneak through, right? See if they can get around these without these orcs noticing them. So, because not everything's got to be a combat. So here we go, because they're just trying to survive. So we have the minstrel here. His dexterity is a +3. So, but what is going to be, I like to roll 4. So their chances to get through. So the DC here is going to be high, right? So I always roll on the DC table, so it's extreme. So it's for them to make it through, they have to hit an 18. All right, so Mishran to 15. He does. So Mishran makes it through. He's able to get through, and the combat is going. They're clanking of whatever's going on with the guards. So Mishran, he makes it through. So here comes the halfling. Now the halfling, he can become invincible for 3 rounds. So he is going to use his invisibility. Because definitely he's a ranger, he's chaotic, he's smart. He's not going to, so he's going to use his invisibility. So I'm going to take that off. So he's used his invisibility. All right, so we have the nobleman. Plus 0, 12. He does not make it unless let me go ahead and roll the dwarf. Plus 0. He does not make it. So the halfling disappears. He's chaotic. Will he help? Maybe. But the goblins, the orcs finish off who they're turning. They turn and they look. And so it's a combat between the goblins are in the green and Knifefield and Fun. So Knifefield and Fun are going to go at it. So 10, 10. Let's see, do they have a dexterity? No, there's 0, 0, and 0. Well, 10 to 10. I'm going to roll again. I don't like simultaneous stuff. All right, 11 and 1. So their orcs have 4 hit points each. Okay, so if orcs, just 2 of them, and they got 4 points each. Okay, so my guys are not very, they're not very strong. So we'll see if we can't go from there. 4, 4. Okay, so the Knifefield pulls out his dagger to attack. He's got a plus 2. Whoops. 19. He attacks with his dagger. Look at him. The noble. Maybe the noble has some. He does 1 point of damage. Plus, strength doesn't add to damage. I made that mistake last time. So he does 1 point of damage. And then Fun, the dwarf, who has his new short sword and shield. 15. What's their armor class? Oh, 15. So, but he has a -1. So he rolls a 14. So he misses. All right, so the goblins attack back. All right, so does Mishran... All right, I'm going to roll. Oracle. Does Mishran help? He's lawful, 16, yes. So Mishran is going to come out of... He thought he made it by. They don't know he's there. He's going to come out, and he has a crowbar. The minstrel. So he takes this crowbar, and he smashes it on top of him. And he misses. So he takes a swing. Oh, you know what? He's going to get advantage because of surprise. He still misses both ways. So Mishran is in there. The halfling. He's probably chaotic. He is probably going to stay around. He's a ranger. He kind of knows. So I'm going to give him an attack from invisibility for 3 rounds. Well, let's see. He's chaotic. So let me roll the dice. 9. No, but. That's a no, but. He's not going to attack, but he's not going to flee the area. That's what he's going to stay and look. And he's going to look for an opportunity to help, because he's not going to get himself killed. And so, okay, so the orcs turn and they are fighting infield, who's got nothing. 2, and he misses. So they miss infield. It gets +2 to hit, so that's a 3. And then the dwarf, 4. They miss. So they miss. He's able to dance away or whatever, and miss away. So next, okay, so the orc. So the orc turns back, continues to fight Knifefield. 7, he misses. He's got an armor class of 10. He gets a +2. That's a 9. And then at 18, they hit the dwarf. So the dwarf has 3 hit points because he's tough. So they do 1 to 8. So let's get my 8 set of dice and see what happens here. 1 point of damage. All right, 1 point of damage. So he is still standing. He's at 2. Now they're swinging back. Knifefield misses. Fund critical, and they don't get any kind of he don't get any one is he does not get any form of luck tokens because they're not. I usually give luck tokens based upon their level. Combat 88. Whether there's a critical table in here or not. All right, so, and then Michon with his club. So, wow, he hits him in the back with a crowbar. Crowbar is going to do 1d4. That's my. He does 1 point of damage with the crowbar, but that is down to 2. And so Brahm. So does Brahm find a? Does he decide to make a choice this time? Yes. So Brahm decides that he is going to attack with his dagger. It doesn't really matter. So he's going to come out of the shadow and attack with his dagger. You know what? He's going to throw it. And he misses. Because he has his club, so he's going to throw his dagger. All right, so, man, this is going to be a long battle. All right, 18, they get attack again. So let me grab 2 dice. All right, so the red will be knife field and the blue will be fund. All right, both of them miss. And then Mishran and Brahm. So Brahm's going to come out. Oh, you know what? He should have got, with his dagger, he should have got an advantage because he was invisible. And 15, so he does hit. So he did hit with his dagger. And I'm going back, but I just remembered he was invisible. Oh, and 4 points of damage. Ooh, which one does he attack? Well, if Mistron is hitting this, so he's going to kill the one that's on the dwarf. Okay, glad I rolled that again. And then, I think he breaks invisibility once he becomes... Creature you touch becomes... Attacks or cast spell, yep. Just like anything else. But he does get in one more attack because that was his last one. But he comes 16. He hits again with his. He threw his dagger, so he hits the other one with his club. 2. So he kills him. So the halfling comes out of the shadows, kills one with a dagger, and then on the next round, boom, kills him with a club. So they kill 2 monsters. So let me see what. So they are able to. They have great axes. So they pick up, they're both going to, so they're going to get 2 great axes. So who, the noble is going to pick up a great axe. So, that'll be a 2-handed weapon. The great axe. It's versatile, 2-handed. Can use this with 1 or 2 hands. Okay. Great axe is 1d8. Great axe is +2 and 1d8. So this noble. And then I'm going to give him 1 because he's the only one who doesn't have an axe. Great axe. So he's got his great axe is at -1. But he does 1d8, and if they swing it 2-handed, which they probably are, it's 1d10. Wow, I don't know if y'all remember, but my first characters also made it through at 0 level. So we'll see if these guys are going to make it. So now they're going to run down the street. Oh, you know what? I need to see what treasure's on them. Because every little bit's going to help. So they're level 1 characters. I'm just going to roll for 2 and see if there's anything on them. Oath to 3. 70. A fragment of a sapphire. I'm just going to write this down for later. Treasure. Fragment of a sapphire. And it is worth 30 gold pieces. You know, it's not going to really matter because of the, you know, but then the other one has picked up a 99. A 99. Holy, a bag of holding. So these orcs has a virtue and a flaw. Holy cow. And it's worth 150 gold pieces. But you know what? A bag of holding. That is amazing. Let's go ahead and roll what the virtue and the flaw is. It's got virtue. Unbelievable. But you know what? That's why the dice makes this such a fun game. A 9. Coaches its welder on the right things to say in a situation. Okay, I'm just going to write a 9 on the virtue. Oh, that's funny. And a flaw, 14. Cannot stand other conscience magic items. Okay, and then a flaw. Oh, that is going to believe that's going to be very, very interesting because he has a bag of holding. A bag of holding. Woo, man, the dice. Okay, so they're going to run down the street. So they go from this when they first got from each other, then they run. They're running through the city. And they're going to the next. So let's see what surprises us next on our adventure here. So, yada da 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 da. D10. 7 again. Another monster mob. Okay, well, 7. Monster mob. Okay, so this time, I had orcs last time. I wouldn't think they would have much. I'm not going to make it I mean, they do have solo monster, so monster mob. Let's roll 2d6s and see if it gives me an idea of what kind of monster these are. Mighty, it's spellcasters. So, let's see. It's going to have to be orcs. What a shaman. That's what it's going to be. Orc chiefin. Oh, it's a goblin and a goblin shaman. That's what's going to have to be. Goblin and a goblin shaman. Okay, so even hill giants they serve. So there we go. So a goblin. Let me roll see how many they are. It's going to be +1, which is so 5. So 5 goblins. 4 goblins. With a 4 goblins. Let me have a pen. 4 goblins and 1 shaman. All right. Who are engaged. They're always going to be engaged. Let's see if they're engaged with the guards. Rush roll. No, they're not engaged with the guards. And so they are in the street. They come around the corner and run into them. They had just got done in a combat, so my guys turn and they pause. And so combat. Let me see. Is there a way? Let the dice decide. Is there a way for them to get past this combat? Yes, but. I'm going to say, well, yes, they can. So it means they do have a sneak, but what would the but be? But let me... Where's my ShadowDark? SoloDark. You know, when you have a but, you always go to the Oracle table. Oracle table. A but. 94... Change 65. Change control. Change control. They can get around it, but they have to change the control. So they have to figure out change control. So the goblins control the situation, because they control that part of the city. Change control. What can I have them do to change the control of the situation? Change control. Change control. I'm going to write, I don't know what it is, but sometimes when I write something down, it will. All right, change control. Change control. So they can sneak by, so it was a yes on that. Yes, but I have to change the control of the situation. The first thing that comes to mind is that the goblins have some kind of control of it, the situation, but they have to figure out a way to change the control if they want to get past this. So it's going to have to be some form of distraction so that the goblins are they're not controlling the area. Change control. Bag of holding. No, that has a virtue. You know what? The bag of holding. So the bag of holding said that why don't we use it? Because they don't know. They just grab this bag. But this bag is going to have, so I rolled a 9. Coaches as well are on the right thing to say in a situation. Boom, there it is. So they are going to, in fact, I think the minstrel speaks goblin. And so does the noble. So they speak goblin. So they are going to change the control of the situation by speaking to them and letting them know that they are somehow, that who is holding this bag? That's going to be the question. Because it's got to be one of the ones that speak goblin. So I'm going to roll a 1, 2, 3, 4. Only reason I'm going to roll a d6. 1. It's going to be the minstrel. So that makes sense. The minstrel somehow grabbed the bag. I'm not going to run a 4. I really think I know it seems that you're giving it to him because but the other one wouldn't know that he speaks goblin. So it had to be, for this to work, change control, it had to be someone who had the bag who already knows how to speak it. So the minstrel is going to, he has such a low charisma. You know what? It's going to be the noble. The only reason I'm going to do this is because the noble has a high charisma. And yes, you might say, oh, you're playing to your characters. You know what? I'm playing to the story. Playing to the story. You know, I watch all these videos about the Grognards fighting over. Is it storytelling? Is it DM? It's what it is, a mixture of both. And the story emerges from play. So from this play here, I have that Nyfield speaks goblin. He's got this bag because, this is a story. It's fortuitous money. He's got this bag. And he is like, he sees his goblin, but then all of a sudden, something starts to influence him. He doesn't know where it's coming from. He doesn't know it's coming from this bag of holding. But the bag that he's holding is starting to influence him and give him a way to talk out of the situation. So that's what he's going to do. So what it's going to do is he has a high charisma. So as a noble, and he's holding this axe, he's holding an orc axe. So, he could be saying, so he's going to try to take control of the situation. So what is my DC for this? 4 is at 18 again. So it is very, an 18. Boy, his 4-sided dice is not like in my party. So, but I'm going to give him an advantage. And he's got +2. So because the bag is supposed to tell him exactly what to say. I don't want to give it too much power. But it is a virtue. Let's just roll and see what happens. 19, so he did it. Didn't even matter, I didn't have to come up with something. So 19, so the bag, he starts speaking goblin and he starts telling him, really, he starts speaking to him in a commanding presence because of his high charisma. He's a noble human. He's holding this orc axe and he just starts acting like he is part of he was someone who had been infiltrated espionage. He's a double agent. He has been in this city and he is directing them where to go into a certain thing. So that's what I'm going to use to get out of this. Oh man, that is so freaking cool. The game is so cool. That is definitely what I'm going to do. So they were able to move past this to number 4, right? And so the last part is going to be Man, to see my player's face, if I was playing this on a regular game, it would be in blue. So this is going to be 5. This is the exit, right? So they're going to go here. They're going through town, so they take off, and they're like, come on, let's go. So they all take off. And so let's see what the next adventure is going to be. I'm not going to roll another monster mob because I want variety. Let me pick another dice here. Let's try this black one. 1. I'm not going to have another empty room. 4. You know what I ought to do when I'm rolling something like this? Probably a good rule is that you don't roll things twice. However, that was very cool. 130, number 4 is a minor hazard. So, a minor hazard, let's see what it tells me on here. D6. 6, enfeebling magic. So, there is going to be, all right, we have that. We have the goblin shaman. So we know that they have people who are working. So what kind of enfeebling magic would he cast in this area? Let's see. Bug brain, intel drops, skitter, stink bomb. 1 target within 4, 2x4 damage. So that's going to be it. Enfeebling magic. It'll be a stink bomb. So they run around this corner and they run right into where a goblin shaman had dropped a stink bomb on some characters, some guards or whatever, and they run right into it. 1 target within 4, 2 to 4 damage. DC 12. Okay. So they come around this corner. It's going to enfeebling magic. It's going to, let's see who is the leader of the chart. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be 1 target. 2 is going to be the halfling. So the ranger comes around the corner. He probably would be leading the group, but I think the noble's leading the group because could speak. He's kind of empowered with this ability to speak. And so the halfling has got it's a DC 12. So he's making a wisdom spell, DC 12. All right. He rolls a 12 because he has +2 to wisdom. So, a stink bomb. Wait, DC 12. 1 target within 2 for damage and a DC 12 con or disadvantage on the next. Okay, got it. So he rolled a 12. It's a DC 12. I'm going to let him use wisdom. So. For a stink bomb. Target. So he doesn't take any damage, so he's able to overcome it. So that's good. So this is a stink bomb. So this is number 4. And this was a minor trap. A minor hazard. And it was a stink bomb. All right, well, here we go to the last room of the gauntlet. All right, so here they are. If they're able to get through this whoever makes it through this will be able to make it through until, that sounds crazy how this is going to happen, but you know what? This is what makes D&D so fun. So let's get another D8 here. I mean a D10. A 2. So it's not going to be empty because I already rolled it empty. It's not going to be any of the ones I've already rolled. 5. A solo monster. That makes perfect sense. So that, you know what? This is perfect. So the solo monster, and it's really not the highest because this was the highest one. Again, we're not playing by that rule. So this is going to be a 5. It's a solo monster. And this is going to be one of the ogres. No doubt about it. He's the biggest and the strongest that would be here. I'm not going to throw a giant against him just because I think that would be just way too powerful against... I mean, he's already a level 6. Oh, man, what is a hill giant? Holy shabolies. I don't know what that means, what I just said, but I just said it. Hill giant. Oh, level 7. So level 6 ogre. Oh my gosh. So there's an ogre here. And he is a solo monster. So then I will roll the same thing. So he'll have hit points. AC 9. Well, that's not bad. Hit points 30. Attacks 2. What a great club. I don't know if I should make it an ogre. Just because, man, it's a... A 6 level is kind of strong. Because the other thing I could make is a dire wolf. Because it is just a solo monster. It doesn't have to be a... and even though my characters could kill it, that's for sure. They can definitely kill it. So let's see, 130. Let me roll on a solo monster in 2d6s, black and red. 44. Clever spellcaster is a small one. So it's clever spellcaster. I don't want to do a spellcaster. I just did one of those. I mean, I could do an Ani, but boy, he would kick their butt. I think I'm going to, because I don't really want to add humans into this. I don't want like some evil priests that have have gathered up with these. Now, what I could do, so if you know, oh man, spoiler alert for an adventure that's been around for, I don't know, 40 years. But on the against the giants, let's see what level this is. Woo, that would be tough. But let's. So here's what I'm thinking: is if you know that the people who are manipulating the giants, even though it's the cloud giants that are using the land giants to do a lot of this work. If you know G1, G2, I mean the whole series D1, and then into the Queen of Spiders, they're all being manipulated in a way, not manipulated, but I guess there's an alliance between them and the Drow. So would it be cool to have that this solo monster is some kind of Drow priestess, but this one in the book, a level 6, is pretty tough. 3 attacks, +4 a spell, +4 summon spiders, snuff, esteemed light source, even magical, sunblind. It's early it's still, I'm gonna say dusk and dark, so she's probably a web, a snake whip. But that is a very strong character to be early on. But boy, it would give you a little taste. It would give them a taste of what is behind it. But I just think that would be just too early in it. You know, if I was running as an adventure, I would probably have done that. I would probably have said, just to give a little flavor of the Drow, would be, oh man, that would make the characters. But you know what? The thing is, they don't really technically have to defeat it. I think if they can get it to... you know what? I'm going to make it the Drow Priestess. Why not? I think that's just cool. No, I'm going to make it an ogre. Not to go back and forth about it. I'm just going to make it an ogre. It makes sense because the ogres are part of this. Yeah, the Drow would be really, really neat, but I think the ogre just makes a lot more sense. It's either that or the wolf. And the wolf... Because a dire wolf, it does say that they have dire wolves. A dire wolf is a level 4 creature, which would be, it's a level 4. It would definitely be, you know what, I'm going to roll. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, it's going to be the Drow Priestess. 2, 3, 4, the ogre. 5, 6 is the wolf. 1, 2, it's going to be the Drow Priestess. But again, if they kill her, it would set up, and it would allow me to... No, I think that gives too much information too early in the campaign. I really do. All right, so I'm going to re-roll. Sorry if I'm going through this, but I'm just trying to show you, as you're dragging this out, I'm trying to... This is how I roll. This is how I try to figure things out. It's going to be the dire wolf or the ogre. So 1, 2, 3 is the wolf. 4, 5, 6 is the ogre. 4, 5, 6 is the ogre. Bam. I already wrote down. You should have just played it. Okay, so here we go. The ogre is standing between them and freedom. Ogre is green. Oh, so they get first attack. So they step up, and I'm going to roll. So Mishran steps up with this great axe. I think Nayfield is going to be the first one up. So he steps up with his great axe. The noble, he's the one that's going to take it. And so he goes, rolls 11. So he hits with his ogre has an armor class of 9. He hits with his great battle axe, and he's swinging that thing two-handed too. So he swings with his two-handed. 10 points of damage. Awesome. 10 points off the bat. The noble says, I am here and you're not taking me down. So then we're going to have what I had. I had a halfling second. He's going to come up. 12. He hits. So he does 1d4. 4 points of damage. Man, these 0 level gauntlet characters are really just like, we do not want to die. So Mishran, the human with his great axe, 19, he hits. Holy cow. And he's going to swing with the two hands. What do you got, little 2 points? All right, and then the dwarf. The dwarf who hates the ogres comes forward with his shadow sword. 3, he misses. Hey, there's only so much you can do. The ogre swings back. He's got 2 attacks with his great club. And he misses. And he swings another time. And he misses. So all these 10 armor classes. Hey, the dice have spoken. So the next round. All right. The ogre goes, but he is under half hit points. So I'm going to make him make a morale check. Because he is not... I'm almost positive morale is in this thing. He is not always going to be one... It just makes sense that they have... Do they have morale in this book? I thought they did. 88. Is there a morale roll? I thought there was a morale roll. Morale. Enemies who have reduced to half their number or half their hit points for solo flee if they fail a DC wisdom check. So that's what I'm going to roll. So he's going to make a wisdom check before I roll. 9. He fails his wisdom check. So he is going to take off as 4 against 1. And I know he's the ogre. But if you read the module about the ogres that run in there, it kind of makes sense that he might be one that would be, he's outmanned. So they get him 14. And they all 4 survive. And so what they're going to do is as they're in this last part, Hashtik sees them, and so Hashtik survives by hiding in the debris. So he sees them and he calls them to him, and so they run here and they meet Hashtik. And so they have made it through the gauntlet. Unbelievable. And maybe a little help from the dice, a little help from the DM, but hey, you know what? They still only have 1 to 3 hit points. So, and one of them did get hit. So y'all saw the dice did not hit them. So they have made it. So the fun part is what class do they end up becoming. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to, what I did is I'm just using the basic classes in the book. Oh, there's Hank Infernal's art right there. And so I thought there was I know there's a random character generator. That was at the beginning here. It's not. So random character generator. What classes should they be? I mean, I could definitely go and get the bard if I wanted to keep the minstrel as a bard. I could use the bard class. Random characters on page 40. Or, so let's do, okay, so what's going to happen is this is how my adventure, so if I was DMing this at the table in the same way I'm DMing this now, it's going to be, as they're at, now the war goes on, Tika Town becomes destroyed, and we're going to fast forward months down the road. And so what has happened is they have, they have been part of the resistance. They're kept, they have an underground space, so maybe a storage area or a secret room that they are hiding out in, an area that the goblins own. But during that time, this is when they develop to become first level characters, right? And so I want to go ahead and do a little bit of first level characters. And so just so we could see what they do, right? All right, level investment. Level 1, so they're going to get a talent. And unbelievable. You know, this is I think this is the second time. If you look at my original group, I think just the fact that they reach first level after surviving the first month, you know, I'm almost positive that when I made this, when I made my characters the first time, they survived, and I'm almost positive. All right, so let's see what classes they become. And then it helps me build a backstory. So the minstrel, 1, he becomes a fighter. You know, does that make sense for him? No, he has a high dex. So him being a fighter doesn't make sense. A minstrel, he is going to be, I'm going to pick their classes. I'm not going to roll them. I'm going to look at their skill. And I know you could play different characters at different things, but I think what he's going to do is, what if I just make him a bard? Okay, so he is either going to be because he has the highest dex. I'm going to make him a bard. So he's going to be either a thief or a bard. He was already background minstrel. I think a thief is what I'm going to make him. So his class, he's going to be a thief. Whoops. Spell thief, right? Okay, so he's a thief. And then the halfling, who's already a ranger, he is a balanced type of character. He has a high wisdom. He's the one that, well, no, they all have deities on here for being neutral, but he has Ramalot as a deity, which is going to be very interesting. But he has a good wisdom and he has a good strength. So let's make him, I like to have one of each. So let's make him well, let's see here. He's got the high intelligence. He has a high wisdom. The nobleman's he's lawful. The nobleman, I mean, a paladin would be what he would definitely look to do. So I'm going to make him a priest. Yep, because the priest title, Alkalite Crusader. So this is going to be my priest. Okay, my dwarf is my intelligent. He's going to be he's banished. He's a short sword and steel, but he has a high intel, so he's going to be my wizard. And my halfling ranger, he becomes my fighter. Okay, because I just like to have one of each class. Okay, and so, they get a roll. Let's do that real quick. And they do have this, and he has this priest. He has this bag of holding. Okay, and he finds out over time that the use of that. And what else did they find? I'm going to have to make character sheets for all of them, but a sapphire worth 30 gold. So I'm also going to make their equipment's going to be somewhat limited, but we'll worry about that as we go. But let's see, first level. Let's go ahead and do their roll per their class real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here. I am just shocked. So my priest here is 2d6. Eight. +1 to spell casting checks. So he's going to get +1 to spell casting. And he's a human, so he gets 2 priest talents. +1 to spell casting. And 5. +1 to melee or range attacks. +1 to melee. All right. Because he's a human. Human gets 2 rolls. Am I correct on that? I'm almost positive. Yep, gain 1 additional talent first level. So, and then let's see what the next one is. Thief class. He gets 2 talents. 6. Your backstab deals +1 dice of damage. All right, +1 dice of damage. And 6 +2 dex or charisma. So, being a minstrel, but I'll give him an 18 dex. Let's make him an 18 dex. Because why not? +4. All right, fighter. Is that the next class in the book? Nope, it's the wizard. Wizard, he's a halfling. Nope, he's a dwarf. So he is going to get 8, gain advantage on casting 1 spell you're in. So gain advantage on 1 spell. He's banished, which kind of makes sense. Maybe he's banished because of his love of magic. And then the last is double nickels. Oh, fighter should have been my first one. Missed it. My fighter is my halfling. Gain weapon mastery with 1 additional weapon. +1 gain weapon mastery. All right, everyone. So, again, thanks for joining me. I got my 4 characters that I have to go print character sheets for now and fill them out. I got my gauntlet run that I made, random as we went the whole time. I got extra characters that I did not get around to. And then I played a published material. So this thing with the published material, I'm going to continue to use this. So right now they're in Tika Town. And so once I come together, all my adventures are going to be in this setting. Giants have overtaken this area. And that you can, if you find this, you can almost find it online somewhere. But on Tika Town, it tells you it's got, let's see, 10 noted locations in the town. It's got me a little map for Tika Town, which I'm probably going to blow up a little bit. It's got the Tika Town, what the government is going on right now. Osrig, an old mountain giantess. That's her and her. She's got 3 hill giants from her adopted tribe. She has 11 ogres that help her enforce things. And it tells you what's going on, like her laws. No humans allowed out between sunset and sunrise. The giants and ogres will be provided with as much food and drink as they want. All values belong to Esrig, and striking an ogre or giant is not permitted. But it also has kind of like what's going on in the city. So this is going to be my setting for right now. What I'll hope to do is as my characters grow in strength, hopefully if they continue to survive and do their adventures around this town to help this town maybe free itself from these, from them. But one of the things about Tika Town is on the map here, Tika Town's right up here, and what happens is a lot of caravans and stuff of the storm giants go up to this place called Nuruk Fork, and they come through Tika Town. So Tika Town is a strategic place in the giants' operations for this area, and so I'm going to allow my characters just to kind of do some, basically, if you're old like me, some Hogan Heroes or whatever, some kind of they're gonna be my little special forces group of adventurers who are trying to help to free this town. And so, so if you want to, I'm telling you, if you're looking for a good setting, one of the old school ones, and you want to do giants, I just love the old giants. It's so cool. Got the giants with the people hiding. picked up this product. That's nice. I've had this thing for a long, long time. And so I'm glad I'm get to play it. Anyway, hey, thanks everyone for watching. If you will link, what is it? Thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and comment. If you just comment, hey, it's a great video, whatever, it does help, and it gets my channel out to other people. It would be great. I'm also going to do, so I will probably end up doing this for a little bit. I do have another game review I want to kind of do, but that might be down the road because I'm in the process of reading the book. Anyway, hey, thanks everybody, and have a great day.